Hey everyone, this is Ron with BridgeCom Systems. My amateur radio call sign is Kilo Charlie Zero Quebec Victor Tango. That's KC0QVT. I'm really glad you're here this morning and joining us. We're here in Smithville, Missouri, the heart of America, in just north of Kansas City. We've got a good show on tap for you today. We're going to continue to revisit setting up a DMR handheld with your to talk to a local repeater. So anyway, got a lot of guys showing up. Israel Asa, Bill Melky of Dayton, Ohio's here. Larry Lenhart, Toledo, Ohio's here. KO4 Juliet Lima, Cliff in north of Tampa. Alden Jones, Kilo Charlie 1, Juliet Whiskey Romeo from Vermont's here. Nice to meet you, Alden. Thank you for joining us. Dean Dunlap, he's in KE0 FFA in Lawrence, Kansas. We actually have a couple of grads from KU here working for us, so that's cool. See Dave Nudie, I believe, KD8 DLT in Cleveland. Dave, I got to tell you, man, my guys are going against your guys on Sunday, so that's going to be fun. What do you think? Anyway, talking about football, by the way, if you guys, the Cleveland Browns are playing the Chiefs. Jim, Mesa, Arizona, Kilo 2, Juliet November Lima, it's in the house. John, Whiskey Alpha 4, Bravo Lima, Mike from Conyers, Georgia. Nice to meet you, John. William, KB5YCD in New Orleans. Maurice, Kilo Alpha 1 Sierra. Somebody named AC says he's working on his ham license, but he's into commercial radio now. Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad you guys are here. We do want to help you. We are all about your success. We want you successful, and that's why we do these live streams. I definitely want to. Well, maybe Dave says the Browns are going to lose. Well, we hope so. We're all Kansas City fans. All right, we want you successful, and we're gonna keep doing these live streams because on various topics on DMR, on the Anytone radios. Who knows where it's going to go? We've got some HF stuff happening, repeaters. We're in a lot of stuff here at BridgeCom, so it's just starting. Anyway, just a few housekeeping details. The giveaway for the Ho 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 giveaway ends tonight. We are giving away 3 878 pluses with Nagoya antennas. That's three radios. And that giveaway ends tonight at midnight Central Time. So get your entries in. And we will be announcing another giveaway. By the way, I'm sorry, let me back up. The Ho Ho giveaway, we will announce that winner tomorrow. Okay, but the giveaway ends tonight. So get your entries in. And we will be announcing another giveaway. And you know, we just found out I found out yesterday that Hamvention will not be, they'll not have it this year. Obviously for the virus and stuff has canceled that, put a kibosh on it. And you know, one of the things, when we go to Hamfest that make them fun is that they have a giveaway or a prize drawing at the end. And we like doing that here too at BridgeCom. And so we like keeping a giveaway happening all the time. It just kind of creates buzz and it gets everybody excited. And you can go to our website. We do announce the giveaway winners and they're listed on our website so you can see who did win stuff. So there's been questions about whether we ever give stuff away. Yes, we do give stuff away. And it's a big joy for us, and it gets a lot of people exposed to the radios as well. So another giveaway on tap after this one ends. So in the spirit of the Ham Fest, we keep giveaways happening because we know you guys like that, and we do as well. Another piece of info is the G90. We started selling that here a while ago. It's been for guys wanting to get into HF. That's been a really big hit. And that's called the Zygu G90. It's an HF rig for bouncing signals all over the ionosphere. Anyway, the accessories are now in stock. We've got quite a few of those, so you can check out our web store. Anyway, a couple more folks have chimed in. Vern Atwater, KF0 Alpha Hotel Papa from Minneapolis. Thank you for being here. Kilo India 4 Yankee Delta from Northern Virginia's here. Thank you for being here. Anyway, let's get started. I did make some show notes these show notes are available in PDF. You should hopefully find a link to those in the chat for the YouTube, because we are simulcasting this on YouTube and Facebook. So yeah, I noticed my guy, he just put the show notes in. So yeah, check those out. Hopefully you guys can get those. But anyway, I'm going to be following along with those step by step. So if you guys want to watch this video later, which will be recorded, and it'll be on our YouTube channel, so you can check that out. But the PDF of the show notes will be in the comments below. So let's get started. Anyway, again, I want to remind you, we're about your success. I poured through the Facebook comments on our official group page, and by the way, if you haven't joined that group, it's got a lot of active folks in there. We're active in there, and it's a real good quick way to get your questions answered. But I pour through there pretty regular and look at stuff, and I chime in every now and then. I make announcements about various things. But one of the things I did notice is that, you know, there's a lot of new folks still coming into the family, and people are struggling with getting these radios to talk on a local repeater, and I want to make sure we touch on that, because it is important. I mean, that usually is the first attempt at making a QSO is through a local repeater. I know the hotspots are real, you know, going bonkers, and that's a great place if you don't have access to a repeater. But repeater is a great place to get that started. So I'm going to go over step by step from a radio out of the box and talk to you about that. So the first thing that you want to do, if you haven't already done so, is you want to go to radioid.net, and you need to get a DMR ID. Okay, this is number one, step number one. You need a DMR ID to play in this sandbox. But I shouldn't say that. Before all that, you need an amateur radio call sign, okay? Okay, but once you get your amateur radio call sign, you can go to radioid.net, and we're going to jump in the computer here in a minute, and we're going to show you around what's going on there. But that is where you submit your amateur radio credentials, and Glenn, great guy, I think Glenn's up in Canada, and he runs that website, and you'll get you a DMR ID, and this opens your this is your ticket into this world. So you want to go to radioid.net, okay? And the next thing you need is you need a good DMR handheld or a mobile, but we're going to talk about handhelds, and we actively promote the Anytone. We believe it's one of the best radios on the market for both amateur and commercial. I mean, this radio's got awesome battery life, has capacity for thousands of contacts. I mean, you could put all the contacts that you need in that radio. It's got lots of RF power, great range. It's just a great all-around radio. So we're going to focus on that radio as we do these live streams. We understand there's other radios out there. The MD, TYT makes a bunch of radios and that do DMR, and of course there's other radios, but they all should work on repeaters and do DMR. But anyway, we're going to focus on the Anytone because that's what we support, and so you need a good radio. The second thing you want to pay attention to when you're looking for a repeater is you want to go to a website called repeaterbook.com. Okay? You need to go to this website to find a repeater. So you know, just look around in your state, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do here, but you look around in your state, kind of in your general location, and I'll show you how to find a DMR repeater. Now, keep in mind, Repeater Book is only updated as much as the folks that submit their information to them. They're pretty active, but if you know, the information is as current as they have it. So we are going to jump into the computer here real quick, and we're going to go to repeaterbook.com. Hey, AC, ask your question right now. What do you need, my friend? We got a ton of people here. Okay, so we're going to go to North American repeaters because that's where we are, and I'm going to just basically walk you through what I would do. Okay, so I'm in North America. Okay, obviously going to go to Missouri. Okay, and go to your state wherever you're located, and then it's going to have a bunch of qualifiers here. You got bands, you got features. We're obviously interested in DMR, but you can go to D-Star, Echolink, P25, NXDN, All-Star. So we're going to filter this by DMR.
Hey Ron, I got AC's question.
Yeah. Okay.
Can the commercial radio be opened up to program from front panel for when I get my tech?
A commercial radio? What is his commercial? This is he has a commercial radio?
Yep. Says he uses a commercial radio right now, but he wants to get into amateur and get his license.
Yeah, depending on the radio you have, AC, I'm just going by your name on the screen, AC. Most radios will work in the amateur radio spectrum. Okay, now you obviously need the programming software and the cable to talk to it. Now, if it is a commercial radio, typically they will not allow you to, from the front panel, to go in and make frequency changes. So you need the programming software. And usually that's held by a dealer. Now with the Anytones, we sell those you can get the CPS with them, but you have to use them in amateur only mode. So it really depends on the radio you have and how you got it. So if it's a commercial radio bought by a commercial dealer, it's probably locked out. So there are ways around that, but it just depends on where you are. But most radios, if they're commercial, will work in the amateur radio spectrum, but you typically have to program them, especially in DMR. DMR was not made for amateur radio, just to be real clear about that. It was made for commercial purposes. It was to address a big problem the commercial radio people had, and that they were running out of spectrum. And they needed a way to be able to increase the amount of spectrum, so there was what's called a narrowband mandate that took place, I believe, in 2011. And they were, because normally all the channels for the longest time were spaced 25 kilohertz apart. And then the narrowband mandate came along and said, now we have to split that to 12.5 kilohertz. Now, the narrowband mandate did not mandate you had to go digital. It just wanted they wanted to double the amount of space in the commercial spectrum, particularly for UHF, which is 450 to 470 megahertz. Because certain of these urban areas were getting completely congested. So many of the bigger manufacturers like Kenwood, Motorola, ICOM, they came up with strategies to maximize the use of the spectrum. And DMR is a way to take a 12.5 kilohertz channel and plop two frequencies, or make two calls in a 12.5 kilohertz channel. So that's what the narrowband mandate was about. So now here we are as amateurs. Here we are as amateurs getting into the DMR world, and we're all confused because we've used frequency agile radios, and now here we have this, what looks like a sophisticated radio, and we have to learn it. And that's why, we're doing these live streams, because a lot of folks are confused because they just, it's not what they're used to. So again, DMR was not made for us hams, but we've adopted it, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And it's open to amateur radio folks just as well, and we can use it in 420 to 449.995. So anyway, back to the repeater book. I did click on DMR, which showed me the DMR repeaters that are in Missouri. And these are all the ones that have taken the time to register their credentials. So now I know what's going on. And I know that I can sort these by county. I can sort them by frequency, location, call, modes. Some of them support a bunch of different modes. You can see over here, one here in Washington, Missouri, Franklin County, DMR, D-Star, and Fusion. So they're probably using what's called an MMDVM, which supports a bunch of different modes. But typically most repeaters are going to support one mode, either analog or digital, okay, or digital just and maybe one or two of the modes. Typically that can sometimes that can be it can be problematic trying to manage different modes because you have interoperability concerns, and sometimes it's just best to leave it in one mode, we found. Okay, so I know that I'm in proximity to Kansas City, and I'm aware of a repeater that I'm going to show it to you here. This one right here, Kansas City KCI Airport. It says it's in Platte County. Well, this hasn't been updated yet, and I know that this repeater now has been moved, okay? And this is the one I'm going to make effort to talk through, but I realize I'm in Smithville, Missouri, okay? And I understand that this repeater now has been moved north to Trimble, Missouri, which is probably 10 miles north of me, maybe 7, I don't know, somewhere thereabouts. And that's the repeater I'm going to hit. But let's just focus on this. It's in the middle of the screen here. And you can see just quickly, it's 444.4625. That's the transmit frequency of the repeater. And it uses, that CC4 stands for color code. I see Jason Johnston's on the phone, Ham Radio 2.0. By the way, if you guys go check out that guy's YouTube channel. He's doing a lot of stuff for ham radio. Jason, he's a great guy down in Texas, Grapevine, I think Grapevine, Texas. But anyway, I see he just showed up. So good to see you, Jason. And so anyway, we're going to focus on this repeater here, 444.4625. And you can see there's a hyperlink here. And I'm going to pull this up. All right. Color code 4. You definitely need to know that. Its DMR ID is 312932, not necessarily important. But here's another bit of information is you want to know what network it's on. And it's on the Brandmeister network, okay? And one of the things you're going to see, and this is real important, is you're going to see a bunch of different networks. You got Brandmeister is a big network. Okay, you got another network that's making some waves nowadays is TGIF. There's a guy down there that's doing some great stuff. I think he's in Texas. But they have a good showing. And then you've got DMR Mark, which, or DMR Plus, or I think they're affiliate Mark. Okay, and this, they're all run by a server, or a network of servers, and you know, you can plop yourself on any one of these networks. And Brandmeister has made that if there's a repeater on Brandmeister, it's pretty much open to anybody that wants to talk through it. There's not a lot of control over what kind of conversations you can have as far as you can raise the repeater, and anybody can really talk through it. I think TGIF is the same way as well, but I'm not certain on that. I don't know what sort of, being on that network, I don't know what sort of control the system administrator exerts over that. The DMR Mark, those are typically linked with what's called a C bridge. Now a C bridge links motor turbo repeaters running IP site connect. And because of that, they're able to exert a lot of control over those systems. And what I mean by that is that they can limit linking between sites. They can limit the amount of the talk groups that go through them. So they're very private, but it just depends on the system operator on how they want to link the system. But they're private networks, and there's a lot of them in North America. And the one feature of the C bridge is that it allows for a lot of control. The system operator can, you know, if there's somebody out there hacking or just being unreasonable, they can, you know, block him from using the system. So there are a lot of these out there, and you know, you just have to look around. But Brandmeister is probably the most popular right now, and it's pretty open. And the repeater that we're going to talk on this morning is it's on the Brandmeister network. Okay, so digging in here, we can see who's running this repeater. Okay, and they have some notes here that they request use time slot 1 for all Brandmeister talk groups, and see BYRG website for talk group assignments. Okay, so even though it's open to everybody, you still want to be respectful to the system operator and the folks running it. The repeaters are private property. They're not, there's not the Wild West, even though it seems like it, but you know, they are run by people that have put up money and they're taking care of them. And usually it's a club or a private individual that just loves the hobby. So you want to be respectful for those. So if you go to their website, and this is a shout out to the Backyard Repeater Group. These guys are doing a really cool job of just networking a lot of repeaters all over the Midwest, particularly Missouri. I don't know exactly how many repeaters, but I heard something on the area around 40 or so. But they have a Brandmeister talk group assigned to them. So you can see here, you know, some information. It says operating on the BYRG DMR repeater. So if you go to this particular page, they ask, remember there are 2 time slots. Okay, only permitted talk group on time slot 2 is 31201. That's the BYRG talk group. All others use time slot 1. So that's what we're going to focus on, is time slot 1. All right. So yeah, just find out, go to Repeater Book, find out what's going on in your neck of the woods, find out if you're, because sometimes people say, oh, you know, I've tried this repeater, and I just can't get through. Well, find out what network is it on. Is it on Brandmeister? Is it on TGIF? Is it on DMR Mark? Because if it's a C-Bridge repeater, it might be that you're not approved on that repeater yet. You might need to call the system operator and say, hey, I want to be able to get on you. And so that's why you're trying to get on a repeater that's just not, there's no access. And but your first step is go to repeaterbook.com and find out what's going on. Okay, so now that you know where to go and find you a repeater, the next thing is you want to know what the key requirements. Okay, I'm thinking, I'm reading a comment here of guys suggesting, you know, is he want to know if it's, yeah, Dan Easter says it's YouTube resolution settings. Okay, just a lot of housekeeping. Okay, so key requirements, you need to know what the TXRX pair is. Okay, and again, this is in your notes, and I'm going to just put this on the board here. So you want to know what your TXRX pair is. You want to know what the color code is. Okay, color code is what you guys may know as your PL tone. It's very similar to the analog world of PL tone. So you have to get the color code right. And every repeater, every hotspot, in order to talk on DMR, you have to have a color code. And you need to know what that is. If you don't get the color code right, you're not going to talk on that repeater, okay? Because they have to, your radio and the repeater have to be in agreement. Okay, number 3 is the time slot. Okay, what time slot? Now, there's 2 time slots, as we talked about with the narrowband mandate, particularly with DMR. DMR has made the use of one channel. You can have 2 calls going on simultaneously. And just a bit of trivia, they're happening so fast, it's every 30 milliseconds these things are going back and forth. So 2 calls can be taking place at once, and that's how they've been able to efficiently use 12.5 kilohertz channel spacing. So yeah, there's you know, that's why you hear maybe somebody's going digital, or that you heard that term thrown around. You went digital. Well, it's because they maybe lost some packets or something like that through the exchange, because these radios have to sync up with the repeater. Okay, so you got 2 time slots, and you need to know what the time slot is for the repeater you're after. Okay, and like we looked here, they want us on time slot 1. Okay, so I'm going to put that, and they're also on color code 4. And they're, from the radio's perspective, we're going to receive on 444.4625, and we're going to transmit on 449.4625. Now that's the radio's, that's the radio. The TXRX pair is the opposite from the repeater's perspective. Okay, all right. So we know what talk groups are allowed, and it looks like they want they only want you on time slot 2 if you're going to talk on the Brandmeister talk group. Now that's I'm sorry, the BYRG talk group. Okay, so we already know that. We're gonna just, we're gonna hook it, we're gonna program this for 4 talk groups today. Okay, and in the show notes, I'll go over those here in a moment. But you got to have your talk groups that you want to go on. And then 5, you want to identify the network. All right, and we're going to be on Brandmeister. Okay, so that's the one we're going to do. Okay, you can have a lot of fun on. I mean, this again, we're getting you started. Once you figure this stuff out, the world will just open up to you on what you can do. You are going to meet a lot of people. You're probably going to enter in this love-hate relationship. You're going to meet all kinds of folks. You're going to just see what's happening out there. And I know for me, you can go and look at a talk group list and see what's available and see what's happening. And in other words, the repeater will. Well, let's put it this way: if you get a hotspot, you'll never have the argument that the repeaters are always dead, okay? It solves that problem. And you'll never hear the bands are dead. There's a whole new world opening up to us as hams. We can always have a QSO. I mean, it's just one facet of ham radio that is really going forward as a nice trend these days. And it's just one, not to pick one, HF over or DXing over or digital. It is ham radio because we're all having fun and we got our licenses. Okay. All right. So continuing on number 3 here, we're going to pick 3 talk groups and the talk group disconnect. Okay. Now, a talk group is basically a number assigned to get everybody talking in the same together in a room, if you will. Like if I was in a room with 3 or 4 people, that would be a talk group. Well, they assign a number to that particular collection of people. So there's all kinds of different talk groups. So the best analogy is like I was just alluding to, is that you can, if you want to go to a room where they talk about, I don't know, HF, okay, or a particular model of radio, you can go in there and talk on that. Or if and we've got all kinds of different topics. You've got statewide talk groups. You've got topics about anything. And I'll show you where you can find that. But there's a lot of talk groups out there. So I don't want to confuse you too much there. It's okay. And I don't want to go rambling on that. But anyway, we got 4 talk groups here. So what we want to do now is we're going to find my DMR ID, because I need that before I can even start. So you want to go to radioid.net. And if you haven't registered, you want to go down here and log in and sign up, okay? And you can also find out what your DMR ID is. And so in this case, I'm going to look myself up so I know what I'm doing. So I've already entered me in here before. My call sign again is KC0QVT. I was licensed first in 2003, and I just recently upgraded to General back in July of 2020. And in December, I graduated to Extra. So I made my uncles proud. I got 2 uncles with Extra class, and they were pretty happy about that. These guys were hams real big in the 70s, and still are, by the way. Okay, so my radio ID is 312-9172. Okay. So that's important. Without that, you are dead in the water. So I am 312-9172. All right, and you'll get one just like that when you register. And who knows, they're registering a lot of DMR IDs. And by the way, real quick, just by way of trivia, Glenn added a new feature to his website that you guys might be interested in. It's called DMR Contact Generator. Okay, check this out. This will generate a contact list for you that you can customize. So check that out. It's a quick plug for him. He's doing a lot to coordinate all this craziness. Okay, so we know my DMR ID, we know of a repeater, and we are now going to jump into the CPS. And I've already installed the latest version of the 878 CPS, which stands for, I believe, Customer Programming Software. And I am going to right click on that icon, and I'm going to run as an administrator on this $100 tablet computer I got off Amazon that runs Windows 10, by the way. Okay, so I got the CPS open, and I am now going to put my DMR ID. Well, actually, I take that back. I am going to, before I jump into the CPS, I'm going to jump over here to my radio, and I am going to reset this radio. This is the radio I've been using for all these live streams of late, and it's got some information in it, and I am going to reset that radio. So what you do is, I'm going to initialize it, by the way. You want to press and hold the PTT button and the button right below it, and you want to turn it on at the same time. Okay, and it wants, are you sure you want to initialize the radio? Yes, I want to confirm that. Okay, so this starts from a clean slate, and so we're going to build this radio up as if if you've gotten it right out of the box. Okay, calibrate data, I'm just going to hit confirm there. Okay, and it says welcome Anytone, and I'm going to show you how to change all that too. Okay, so we're going to start with a clean slate. Okay, so now I want to read this radio, and you're going to see what's in it straight out the box. Okay, I know that I'm on COM 3, and I am going to program, and I want to read from radio. Click OK, and it's reading it. Great. Okay. All right. So you can see there's 8 channels that come with the radio, and these are just programmed by default. They're just stored in the radio, so when you pull it out of the box, so if you ever see your radio and you get this, it's not been used, it's a brand new radio. It's just, this is what they put in there for testing, or just to have something in there for usage, but it's not a used radio. Okay, so I'm going to delete these because I don't want to fool with them. I'm just right clicking, delete, delete, delete. Okay, and we're going to build this thing up from scratch. Okay, so we want to program my DMR ID into the radio ID list. So if we go down here, there's a bunch over on the left side of the screen. You can see a bunch of tabs, or these, it's called a tree view, and there's a bunch of items in here, okay? And I am interested in this radio ID list section, okay? Now, I'm going to put my radio ID in here. Now, keep in mind, you could have more than one radio ID in your radio. So let's say a husband and wife are using the same radio. You could theoretically, both could use the radio, just make sure one's using their ID, and you'd have to select that ID. I'm not going to get into that because most of you just, it's going to be you using the radio, but keep in mind the radio can support multiple users. Okay, so you left double click on that, and this is where we're going to enter in my ID, and then of course where you would enter yours, and I'm at 312-9172, and my radio ID, I'm just going to put Ron, this is just an alpha tag, and it's going to be KC0 QVT. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. All right, so this assigns the radio to me. Okay, all right. That's item number 4. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of customization of the radio first before I really start programming channels. And to me, this is really important because as I've worked with this radio, I like to make the radio my own. I want it to turn on. I want it to make the proper sounds that I like. I don't particularly, I just want to flavor it up. And the Anytone is really cool in that it provides you a lot of customization. I mean, you can see on the screen here, it went dark. I don't like the fact that it goes dark all the time. When I key up the radio, I want to know that, hey, I want to hear a talk permit tone once the handshake is complete with the repeater. I like it when I turn it on. It's got my call sign on there. I can see my name. And I just want to show you quickly how to change this thing to flavor it up for what you like. So I'm going to do that for my radio here, and this is hopefully going to get you the juices flowing for what you want to do. So the page that you want to focus on for that is this over here on the left. You're going to see public, and there's a drop down, and it's going to say optional setting. Okay, this pulls up a bunch of tabs, okay, and this is a rabbit hole that's very deep. I have camped in here to try to figure out, you know, how to customize, but there's all kinds of different features, and I'm learning more and more every time I get in here. So we're going to go to the tab Work Mode, okay, and I want to set the display mode to channel so that I can see the alpha tag that I create here momentarily for my channels. If you don't set this, if you set it at frequency, it's going to put the actual, it'll display the frequency of the repeater. Well, when you're scrolling through channels, sometimes frequency, you know, unless you got a really good memory, you're not really going to, you know, you're not going to know what you're on. And this is, if I change this to channel, that means that when I rotate the channel knob, I'm going to see the names, okay? I want the alpha tags, okay? So also at the bottom, you're going to see choose working mode. We as amateurs, we want to keep it in amateur mode. Now, I realize there's a lot of commercial guys that might be watching or purchasing these radios. There is another mode if you look at the bottom, and it's called professional, okay? Now, professional mode is if you buy, let's say, 100 of these radios and you give them to your team or your workers or whatever, then you want to make sure the radio's in commercial mode or professional mode, because what that does is that makes the radio, it's not frequency agile anymore from the front panel, okay? You don't want people dialing in frequencies. And then, of course, if you're in amateur mode, you cannot key in a commercial radio or a commercial frequency to transmit on. Okay, so anyway, you've got sub-channel mode. I'm going to turn that to off, okay. Okay, yeah, set up default display zones if you want a sub-channel turned on, okay. So I'm going to leave that there. That's what happens when you turn it on, okay. And then we're going to go over here to power on, okay. And this is when we just looked there, when we turned it on, it said welcome, okay? I'm going to change that to custom character. You can also put a picture there. We're not going to do that in this live stream, but leave it there as custom character. And I'm going to change this to Ron. Oops. I think it's all uppercase to begin with. Yeah, Ron in the space. Whoops. It's kind of clumsy. Or you can put it, well, maybe we can try to center it. That might make it look cooler. Put it in there. And then we can put call sign down here. Put in KC0QVT. Whoops. User interface is kind of clumsy. Okay. Default startup channel, you can select that to on. I don't want VFO. Let's see. I may have to put some channels in here before it'll allow for me to change that to VFO. So I'll revisit this. But anyway, I wanted to just show you. Let me center this up a little bit. Yeah, that'll be cool. Okay. So I'm going to click OK. Whoops. I'm sorry. There's still one more item I want to check. I want to check this alert tones. The alert tones are where you really want to spend some time with, because that's how you know the radio's doing some stuff by what you hear. Okay, so the one thing I want to focus on is this talk permit tone. I really like the fact that I want to know that when I squeeze the PTT button and I got access to the repeater, I want to know that the radio responds to me, that I got access to the channel. So I am going to change the idle channel tone to off. That's already off. And digital reset tone, I want off. Okay, that's where it's an annoying beep that I find to be annoying, that is, that after the call has idled out. So I want to program down here this call tone. And this is going to be the sequence of tones that happen when you complete the handshake with the repeater and you know that you can begin speaking. And this is a sequence that I find to be pleasant to the ear, and I'm going to demonstrate it here. And that's going to help me do that. Okay. And then another thing that I want to change is this display. I want to set the auto backlight duration to always, because I don't want this thing going off while I'm talking to it. So I'm going to change that to always. Okay, and then of course you can go through here and, I mean, again, there's so many options on how you want to customize your radio, but just in the interest of time, I'm not going to spend the whole, I just wanted to change these things. So, looking at some questions, Vern Atwater, what exactly is VFO? Okay, VFO stands for Variable Frequency Oscillator. But it's used differently sometimes in that when you're on, from the keypad, when a radio's in VFO mode, you can manually enter in your frequency, okay? So, but that's what VFO stands for, but it kind of has a different meaning now, in that you can make the frequency variable. So, and it looks like Dan Easter's done that.
I got a question for you, Ron.
Okay, got another question coming in from the field.
This is from Alden Jones, KC1JWR.
Yeah.
Can I do stuff like FLD, IGEI, or
F
JS8 call on the Anytone?
Okay, FL Digi, and he wants to know if he can do FL Digi and ID. I don't believe so. It's a DMR radio. Unless there's a way to inject your audio stream or your data stream into the side panel of the radio, which I'm not aware of. I don't believe you can modulate the transmitter with other stuff as well. I don't think it, and it doesn't function as a repeater either. So FL Digi, I think, is out, and it's maybe somebody else would know, but it is a DMR radio, so that's where it's camping. So it doesn't, I don't believe it does it. All right, so moving on. Now we want to set up the talk groups that we talked about earlier in option 3. We're down here at number 6, set up talk groups in the contact list, talk group section. Okay, so if you go over here to the left again, you want to go to contact, talk groups, okay? And you're going to see here that there's one default talk group. Okay, we're going to want to put in 4 talk groups, and I am going to set those up. Okay, the name on the first one is, we're going to call it Talk Group Disconnect. Okay, actually, I'm going to change that to, Talk Group Disconnect. You always want to disconnect in your talk group list, and you also want to have one in your zone of channels for the repeater you're on. You definitely, when you're done talking on a repeater, you want to free the repeater up and disconnect it, because typically these talk groups are autostatic, meaning when you key into them, you cause the repeater to now connect with that talk group, and typically it frees up in about 15 minutes, but let's just say you have a QSO with somebody and you only talk for 5 minutes. Well, that repeater is still going to be flowing audio traffic from that talk group for the next 15 minutes or so. And by having a disconnect, you tell the repeater to go ahead and release the time slot. So you want one of those, and that is a group call, and its talk group number is 4000. All right, and then we want to add what's called the parrot. Okay, the parrot is a real nice talk group, a private call, and it's a private call. You have 2 different types of calls. You have a group call and a private call. The talk group for the parrot that I'm going to show you is a private call, and it's a very important talk group because it can help establish whether or not you're actually making contact with the repeater without annoying everybody. Okay, the parrot is a way for the repeater to respond to your call, and we're going to demonstrate that here momentarily. So I'm going to call this parrot, and it is a private call. So you want to make sure you put that in here for the talk group I'm doing. Okay, there's 3 types of calls: a group call, an all call, and a private call. And its talk group number is 9990. Okay, and now I selected arbitrarily 2 other talk groups in hopes that we'll make a QSO. And the next one I'm going to call, it's Papa Sis. Whoops. Chat, and it's a group call, and its talk group number is 31077. Now, oops, I need to go down here. 31077. Now, I went and looked that up, okay, from the list, and I can show you where that is. Or somebody put in the chat window where you can go find Brandmeister talk groups. So Need to put that probably in the show notes next time. Okay, and then the next talk we're going to do Florida. I tried Florida last week, and I was having some issues, and I'm going to speak to you about that here in a second. So we got Florida. That's a group call, and it's 3112. Okay, now I'm manually doing these talk groups, but there is a way that you can import a list, and that is typically available on the Brandmeister network, but there are CSV files that you can import into the CPS, the program, that you can bring in all these available talk groups. But in the interest of showing you what's going on and how this is done, I'm going step by step through this process so that you can see the nuts and bolts of what's happening here. Because once you graduate, you'll understand what's happening when you bring in a whole list, and you'll see the virtue of that. But in the meantime, we're just going to do 4 talk groups and start from there, because I want to take you step by step through this process. Okay, so now I've added the talk groups to the CPS. I want to create channels. Okay, so you want to go up here to where it says public, and then you want to see where it says this channel, and you're going to see channels. Now, I deleted all these channels earlier. Okay, so we're going to add some channels, and this is where the fun starts. Okay, so the first channel is, we're going to call it KCI, which is the name of that repeater I'm talking about. We're going to call it KCI, and the first one is going to be the disconnect. We're just going to go in the same numbering as I did with the entered the talk groups. Okay, so we know our TXRX pair is right here. So this is where you enter this in: 444 4625 tab 449 4625. Okay. Now, DMR mode is repeater. Okay. We'll go with high power. The bandwidth is 12.5 kilohertz. Time slot. Okay. You got talk group disconnect is the one. Okay. You can see right here. I'm going and clicking on that. That's a disconnect. 4,000. By the way, you can click on these and it'll illuminate and tell you what they are. You can, it's kind of a trick, so you can see their actual number. Okay, so we're clicking on that one. Okay, color, there's my radio ID, that's me, that's what it'll send out when I do the handshake. Color code 4, remember? Right there. Time slot 1's already selected because that's where they want us. Our talk group is also known as our contact, and we're on Brandmeister, which the repeater handles all that for us. So this is actually done. Yep. Okay, so now we want to copy this, and I'm going to paste these, and I'm going to paste and change the alpha tag. And the next one is going to be KCI parrot. Whoops. And I'm building these up from scratch, okay, because I want you guys to see what's going on. And then we're going to change the talk group to parrot. You can notice it changes. Nothing changes because I just copied and pasted color code 4 slot 1. Okay, we're going to paste it again. And then we're going to dive in there and we're going to change this to KCI pop assist chat. Okay, change the talk group. It's a group call, color code 4 slot 1, done. And then we're going to add one more channel, and we are going to call this one KCI Florida. Whoops. Small keyboard here, and it's hard to type sometimes. Okay, so we got Florida. All right, repeater, everything should be the same. All right, so now I've added four channels to the to the radio channel. Now I want to go and create a zone. The next step is a zone. Okay, the zone, every channel that you make, you have to put it in a zone, okay, if you want it to be visible on the radio. So you've got to create a zone at some point. So we're going to create a zone, and I'm going to call it the KCI zone. And a zone is nothing but a collection of channels that have some similarities, okay. As we talked about earlier, the backyard repeater group could be one zone. It basically has all the repeaters that are on that network. And as you drive around the area, you can traverse through the channels, and you know they're all consolidated into a zone. So zones are just a way to organize your mind, and you're also to organize your radio. Okay, so we want to move all these into the zone, and our first channel we're going to put up at the top is the parrot. We'll put the Papa system next is the channel B, but we're not going to have a channel B, okay, and then we're going to put Florida over here. Okay, so that's good to go. All right, now I want to jump back into the optional settings because I want to go to, yeah, okay, so it's going to go to work KCI zone first. Channel is display mode is channel. Okay, and the startup channel is, I want it to be the KCI, I'll make it the Papa system. So it's going to start up on channel A on the KCI zone. So that's how, now you can see that. It wasn't there before because I didn't have any channels in there. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and program this radio and test it. So I believe I've set the COM. It's already, there's COM 3. I'm going to program, I'll write to the radio, and we're going to find out what's going on. Okay, you can come over here and you see copying the data to the radio. Please wait, do not power on, power off. Okay, it's going to restart. It should say my name and my call sign. Yep, there it is. I just programmed that in. Okay, and it's restarted. As you can see, the top, it's in the KCI zone, the Papa sys. And if I rotate the channel, you can see those channels I just put in there. KCI, there's the parrot, there's the Papa sys, there's Florida, and there's the disconnect. Okay, so like I talked about first, test with the parrot. Now, you want to remove this programming cable, and I'm going to take this off the, so you won't be able to see it here. Okay, last week I had some problems trying to get into this repeater, okay, and I found out that I am in a this spot right here where I'm standing, we thought it might have been the lights in the studio that were giving me some grief. But I cannot get in from this spot. I'm trying right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. There's a window right here. And keep in mind, if you have problems with not getting into your repeater, it might be just where you're located. There could be structure or something like that. Keep in mind, digital, it's either you're in or out. So you just got to try and walk around, because I found out I was in a bad spot. So I'm going to walk over here to this window, and they're going to follow me, and I should be able to get in. KC0QVT.
KC0QVT?
Yeah, see, I hit the parrot. That's the first thing you want to do. So I know I'm hitting this repeater. I'm on color code 4, high power, so I'm putting out about 5 watts. So KC0QVT radio service test.
KC0QVT radio service test.
Okay, that's what you want. Last week I couldn't hit the repeater, and I was sitting there wondering why, because I tested it earlier. We thought it was, like I said, the lights. All right, now what I want to do is I'm going to see if I can make a QSO with the folks on the Papa sys. So I don't know if you're, well, anyway, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to move over to Papa sys chat, and I'm just going to do a CQ. CQ, this is KC0QVT. Can I get a radio check, please? See if anybody hears me. So I should have raised the repeater. It should now be statically connected to the pop assist if there's anybody there. Now this is a gamble. When you go out and look at or go try to talk on a talk group, it might be there's nobody there. You have to kind of focus on where folks are at. I'm not hearing it. Here, wait, somebody just responded. Let's see. KC0QVT, anybody copy?
K6RIN, you sounded really good here on Papa Chat.
All right. Hey, thank you very much. This is Ron, KC0QVT. I'm in Smithville, Missouri. How you doing, my friend?
My name is Ron, also, and I'm a mobile in Horn Park in Ventura County. Just appointed to get my little vaccine thing.
All right. Ventura County, California. Okay. Could you repeat your call sign again, please?
It's Kilo 6 Romeo
All right.
RIN.
All right.
And driving right now.
Okay. Okay, I got Kilo 6 Romeo India November. Is that it?
You got it. That's correct. QSL.
Copy that. Well, hey, listen, this is Ron, KC0QVT. I'm clear. Have a great day, my friend. Thanks for the comeback.
Certainly, you have a great day. Thanks. 73 K6 RIN.
All right. That's cool. Well, there you have it, folks. I made a contact, Kilo 6 RIN. I'm going to send him a QSL card after I get out of here and let him know that we made contact. I'll use QRZ to look him up. But anyway, that is the result. We made a contact. We tested it with the Parrot first. We made the QSO. And anyway, that's it. You guys should be able to talk on a repeater after this training. I am excited for you. This video will post on YouTube. I'm available for questions I'm on Facebook. I mean, ask questions, but I'm not there all the time. But we definitely want you successful. So hopefully this training has helped you. Brand new radio out of the box, talking on a DMR repeater. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and it's been an hour with you. I'm going to shut it down and review the material. You got the show notes. But have a great afternoon with you and your family. 7-3.